Good Sunday morning, friends and neighbors, and welcome to Real Estate Radio with Kelly Warren and Associates. Friends, this is where the Valley's favorite real estate agent comes to tell you everything you need to know about buying or selling your home. Now, here are your hosts this morning, Kelly Warren and Jim Warren.
Good morning, and thank you for tuning in to Real Estate Radio with Kelly Warren and Associates, where we discuss the local real estate market right here in our Valley. I'm Kelly Warren, and I'm in the studio this morning with my husband and business partner and co-host, Jim.
Good morning.
Morning, Jim. So it's St. Patrick's Day.
It is.
Yeah.
How exciting.
We used to celebrate big time. Like, I'm Irish. I think it's a fun day. I don't drink, but we used to go out all the time. We're old now, so
I can't say I don't drink, and they were rough days. I'm glad we grew up.
Our friends all got married and had kids, and now we don't do anything.
Oh, man. Those were rough years.
No. I do still like to buy, like, the Lucky Charms leprechaun cereal and
and you dress up all the kids for school and stuff. It's fun.
We do the hats adorable. And the jewelry and all that kind of stuff. So I hope you're all having a great St. Patrick's Day today. And we wanted to talk.
It's just starting.
Yeah. Good times.
Listen.
But, people have been celebrating all weekend because it's on a Sunday.
The real Irishmen are, it's not going to stop. It gets crazy.
So our topic this morning, local real estate, is about home values. What's your home worth? How do people find that out? We actually had spurred this conversation from an email from a listener. So do you want to read that question, Jim?
Where are we at? Okay.
With the Q next to it for a question.
Sherry in Louisville. Is there a place I can go online to find out what my home is worth?
Okay, so we got lots of questions from our listeners this week. If you have a real estate question, you can go to Ask Kelly at kellysoldit.com. That's Ask Kelly at kellysoldit.com. Email us any question that you have real estate related. We'd be happy to answer it for you. Yep. So this question came in, and I thought, well, that's a great topic. So we're going to do most of the show talking about that today. So her question, where can I go online to find out what my home is worth?
Right.
So what kind of answers do we have for that, Jim?
So there's all kinds of stuff, all kinds of resources. So just overlooking the resources first and foremost, you get, how many ads do you get that pop up on your Facebook, or, you see online, like, hey, click here and see what your home's worth and all that stuff.
Does that happen to everybody? It happens to me a lot, but my world is so centered around real estate. I wonder, how Facebook stalks you and things.
Right, and that's what happens. So if we're sitting here and we're talking about cars, then all of a sudden when we're on the computer or on Facebook, we'll start getting ads about cars popping up in front of us. Same thing with everything, with real estate, with, buying, shopping stuff. Amazon knows what you want all the time. Those kinds of things. So what happens is, those ads start to pop up in front of you as you start to have that conversation, or as you start to search in Google or on your browser, like, hey, what's my home worth? Or, real estate in my area, or any of that stuff. So basically the computers are smart enough to know what you're trying to do.
Isn't it crazy, the world we live in? You'd be shocked. We, around Christmas time, I dropped the inside of the crock pot and it broke. And then we were having conversations about it, and all these crockpot ads just kept coming up in my...
Right. And especially that time of year. That time of year, those types of things are so much more aggressive. Best Buy, I like Best Buy. I like electronics.
I don't get any Best Buy ads.
I get tons, nonstop. I probably get 4 emails a day from Best Buy. It's irritating.
I haven't been in Best Buy in years. That serves no purpose in my life. If I need a TV, you buy it.
Right. But those are the things that are out there in society, and this isn't just us. This isn't just our family or this area. It's worldwide. This is what the internet is doing for marketers and advertisers to really get in front of people with what they need nonstop. So that's really what's going on. So people who start talking about, I wonder what my house is really worth, or I wonder what we could get for our house, or
So if you're having that conversation at home with your spouse, you think then these ads are popping up in front of them.
Right. Well, where do you have that conversation first? With the people you love, with the people it's going to affect.
Sure.
So you start to talk about it. You and I mean, we talk about houses all day, every
Right.
day because that's what we do. But say we didn't, and then all of a sudden our phones and our electronics start to hear us talk about that kind of stuff.
Crazy.
They then will start to throw ads in front of us.
Okay, so if I'm a homeowner and I'm thinking about selling soon, or maybe I'm not thinking about selling, I'm just curious what my house is worth. What are some, because some sites are trusted and some sites aren't, like how would I know as a homeowner how to find out what my house is worth?
So, being in our business, what happens is we know for a fact that there are ads that go in front of people that say, click here to find out what your home is worth.
Do you think they're accurate?
I don't think you're going to get an accurate reading from them. I think what's going to happen is they're not even going to give you a number. They're going to take your contact information, send it
Sell your
off to a
lead.
company.
Yes.
That company is then going to call you.
Yes. Okay. So we see this in our back end. We get leads, referral leads from these big national companies in California, like, hey, we've got a seller interested in Canfield. They want to know what their house is worth.
Right.
So that's what's happening.
Exactly. So that's
Okay.
how those do it. Now there are ways to figure out an idea of what your home is worth. The best thing is, first pull up your tax records. You go to the auditor's website, go to the tax website, and they're going to tell you what you're being taxed on, the value that you're being taxed on. So that's a good starting point. Now that value is not always accurate.
Right.
Because
So my short answer on all this stuff that we're dancing around is give me a call, 330-717-2689. We offer a free in-home consultation. I can come out and tell you what your house is worth, the way that it stands right now if you were going to put it on the market. Or, if you're not putting it on the market right now, like, hey, do this thing and this thing and this thing, and it'll make your home worth more in the future. That's your most accurate information.
So your most accurate information is going to be call your realtor, bring them inside, let them look at the house.
330-717-2689, or go to kellysolda.com. So that would be the most accurate way. Now, if you're not quite there, if you're just thinking, maybe someday, or I'm just curious, I want to know what it's
Right.
worth. So then these are the things that you're talking about. Like we can go online to the auditor site, find out what our tax value is at.
Correct.
And then that's kind of a little bit of a baseline. The taxes are usually conservatively priced. So you
Correct.
could usually, from what I see, probably 20, 25, 30% more than that tax value as a sale price if your home's in good condition.
Right. And all that. So that number is a starting point. There are so many other things and so many different avenues that can affect that number. And that number is not always accurate.
Right.
There have been times where people have disputed this number and got it adjusted. Obviously, if you're a homeowner, you want to get it adjusted down so you owe less taxes. But what happens is then that shows the value of your home a little bit lower, which then affects all the data that is going into the rest of the world
Sure.
and how they're going to price your home.
Okay.
So,
Then there are other sites online, like the big one, Zillow, that everybody likes to go to. It has
Yep.
their Zestimate or their Z-estimate or whatever they call it. I'm not sure what the word really is, where it tells you the value of your house there. So how accurate do you as a real estate professional think that is?
So the research that we've seen and heard and read is it could be a big swing. It could be 20% in either direction, up or down. So if I'm sitting on a
I've
house,
even seen more than 20%.
yeah, well, they say that was the national average. This was a couple years ago.
Okay.
I'm hoping that they're tightening that up a little bit. But there is so much information that a computer can't get
Right.
that is really going to affect this. So the biggest thing that I would do if it were me, so I check my tax records. I then pull up my Zestimate. From my Zestimate, I remove that, and what I do is I actually look at the properties that have sold. And on Zillow, you can pick that and say, hey, what did my stuff sell for?
Right.
Or what did the neighbor's house sell for? And stuff like that. So that's all public record that then feeds into Zillow.
So that's what Zillow's doing, is they're taking a computer algorithm of similar homes around you and they're formulating that into a value.
Correct.
Now, Zillow's never walked through your house, so Zillow doesn't really know what it's worth. So your best bet is still to contact us at kellysoldit.com.
Yes.
And we'd be happy to tell you what your house is actually worth. But if you're just, in that pre-information gathering stage and you want to figure that out, that's another baseline tool that you
Correct.
could do. And then you could really get aggressive and you could do the homework. So you could, like Jim was saying, go further into Zillow, and instead of just taking their number, you can look at, okay, so the neighbor's home sold for $130,000 and maybe they had an extra bedroom than you do, but you have a 2-car garage and they only have a 1-car garage. So what an appraiser does for value is they'll add and subtract, take off for the 4th bedroom and add on for the 2nd-car garage, and they'll come up with values based on that. They also take into account things like condition and upgrades, things like newer roofs and furnaces, upgraded kitchens, things like if you have a finished basement or a larger yard. Square footage is their biggest baseline that they go by.
Yep. So all that stuff really matters. And the things that you can do is really start to pay attention to what homes are selling in your area, price per square foot. You know what the square footage of your home is. So that gives you a good number to try and figure out. And what happens is with all of this information as realtors, we focus a lot on all of that data, and we have through our MLS and Realist and things of that nature that we have more access to that type of data than a normal human being sitting on their couch can pull up.
So what do you feel about appraisers? How do you feel about their values?
The value of an appraisal or the value they put
The value
on the
that
home?
they put on a home.
Well, I think appraisers, again, they're working very hard to try to give an accurate value on a property. So the reason that appraisers exist is to protect consumers and lenders.
Both.
And that's the big thing, because obviously if I have a house that's worth $100,000, well, if I put that same house in New York City, it's now worth $1 million.
Right. Location is a big part of value.
I can't justify saying, oh yeah, my $100,000 house is worth $500,000. It's half price of what, the last one that sold in New York is.
Right.
So the big thing with that is what it does is it stops it from getting out of control, and it protects the consumer, where Mr. Joe Blow, who didn't know any better, says, yeah, I lived in New York and I'm moving here. This $500,000 sounds like a great deal for this house.
So I think that with appraisers, that's maybe your most accurate form of value, because they're actually doing a full-blown appraisal. Again, they would need to come into the house like we would to give you a market analysis, and they would charge you for it. You're not getting a free consultation with an appraiser.
Right. Well, and the best thing about the appraiser is he's not going to come in there and give you a number that isn't very close to the value of that property.
Right.
So
yeah, very close. I do think sometimes that for an appraisal, the reason that you get the appraisal may sometimes impact the value. This is just a personal thought. I haven't done research on this or anything, but if you're getting an appraisal because of the divorce, which side hires the appraiser and whether you feel that it's worth higher or lower, may somehow impact, or if it was an estate or for a purchase even. So that's where we have the most experience. So let's use that as an example. In the case of you're buying a home and your bank orders an appraisal on it, it's almost a system of checks and balances.
Correct.
The appraiser sees the purchase price. So, okay, we're paying $175,000 for this house. They then do the comps and they run all the numbers and they add for square footages and take off for garages and add on for bathrooms and do this whole thing to come up with a value that is usually pretty darn close to the purchase price.
Right.
Sometimes higher, sometimes lower. If you're overpaying for the house, that's pretty much their job, is to say, this house is really only worth $169,000, which then your realtor and your buyer's agent, everybody would get back involved and try and renegotiate that price down for you, because we don't want the consumer to overpay for the price for the house. But to me, sometimes I feel like the house is worth what a buyer's willing to pay for it, So say you had, say your parents passed away and you've got their house and you had a third party appraisal done as part of the estate or the probate, and you've got an appraisal for $150,000 on this house.
Correct.
And then we come in to look at it, to list it for you, and we tell you it's worth $135,000, and you're like, oh, but I've got this appraisal that says it's worth $150,000.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the appraisal is looking at the square footage and things like that, and I'm looking at, I work with a whole bunch of buyers. I know what they're buying and what they're not buying, and I don't think that a buyer in today's market would pay $150,000 for this because the kitchen and bathrooms are dated, or it's got the original carpet in it, or something like that, you know?
Right. And the biggest thing that I remember from real estate classes and things of that nature, we all have to take an appraisal class. And the biggest thing that I remember being taught is the appraisal is only good at that second.
Right, the moment that it's done.
Correct.
Because the comps change every day.
Every day and every second.
They're really probably good for 3 months or 6 months or something like that. It's a fluid market.
Right. A bank will hold it, will consider it a value for, I believe it's 6 months.
Right.
So, yeah.
But yeah, you got a value on it 3 years ago. Market changes a whole lot in a time period like that. It's big things to consider. We're going to be taking a short break in a minute here. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about home values. We're going to answer some questions from listeners. If you have a question, real estate related, and you would like to hear an answer to it, you can send us an email, askkelly@kellysoldit.com. We're also going to go over our home picks of the week when we get back and talk about some of our newer listings. You can find all of our properties online at kellysoldit.com. And if you're thinking about buying or selling a house in this busy spring season, you can give us a call at 330-717-2689. Thanks for listening. We'll be right back.
Hey, if you need to sell your home without all the headaches most people experience, hey, Sean Hannity here to tell you that after years of buying, selling, investing millions of dollars in real estate, that all real estate agents do not operate the same way. Now, what makes the difference between a home selling fast and for top dollar and one that sits on the market for months and doesn't even sell at all? Well, you have a great American right in your backyard that I trust if I needed to sell my home. I'm talking about Kelly Warren with Kelly Warren and Associates Real Estate Solutions. She services the entire Mahoning Valley, attracts hundreds of buyers every week, and sells an average 3 homes every week. Kelly spends thousands of dollars every month and creates demand for your home, which makes it sell faster and for more money. Don't play games with your home. Call Kelly at 330-717-2689. That's 330-717-2689 or online at kellysoldit.com. That's kellysoldit.com.
Welcome back. You're listening to Real Estate Radio with Kelly Warren and Associates. If you were just tuning in, you can catch a replay of this week's conversation where we're talking about home values and where you can get that information. You can find that on our Facebook just by searching Kelly Warren and Associates. You can like our page and get notified about any of our new properties and hear our future and past real estate radio shows as well. We're going to go into our home picks of the week, and we're going to talk about some properties that we've got newly on the market here. The first one I want to talk about is on Nottingham in Austintown. We haven't done this one yet, right? Because this is only 1 week on the market.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay.
I like that street.
Yes, so do I. Great neighborhood. Almost Cornersburg kind of side of Austintown, but still easy access to freeways and Canfield and Boardman and everything else.
Yeah.
We have got this one priced at $189,900. It's only been on the market for a week. We've already had some serious interest in it. So the thing about this house is it is like the cream of the crop for the neighborhood. It is like the nicest house over there.
I haven't seen that one yet.
Well, you're in for a treat when you do.
Awesome.
It's a 4-bedroom, 2-story colonial. They've got, I want to say 2 full and 2 half baths. So 4 bathrooms in the house, over 2,000 square foot. Nice big backyard, fenced in with a shed and a back patio and a sunroom. Kitchen was completely gutted and updated like a year ago.
Wow.
Yeah, beautiful cabinets, white cabinets, nice lighting, very trendy, granite countertops. I mean, they have done it all. The glass detail work in the cabinets is just beautiful. It's what's in all the magazines right now.
Nice.
The dining room has the wainscoting and the crown molding. There's a master suite on the second floor, partially finished basement, 2-car attached garage. If anything that you're looking for, nice big 2-story colonial family home at 4220 Nottingham Ave in Austintown. And we're at $189,900 on that. Of course, if you want to see it, you can see it anytime. Just give us a call at 330-717-2689 or an email at kellysoldit.com.
That sounds absolutely beautiful.
It is. It's very nice, and it's available for immediate occupancy too. So
I cannot wait.
I have to
see
take you
one.
over and run you through it.
Yeah, that one sounds gorgeous. Okay, the one that is my pick of the week this week is 2333 Painter Road in Salem. This one is listed at $339,900. It is 4 bedrooms, 3 full baths, and 1 half bath. Very big home, beautiful, 3,100 square feet, right over 3,100 square feet, almost 32. Gorgeous home. Let's see,
That's
how many
that
acreage?
Perry Township side of Salem. So,
Okay.
Great neighborhood. Pierce Circle is kind of that prestigious part of Salem, and that's right in that same neighborhood there.
And this is a big one. And I know Ron talks about taxes on his property all the time. This one is cheap. The property taxes on this are only $3,600. So
3,600 for over 3,000 square
That's
foot and
what I'm
about
saying.
3 acres.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big lot too.
yeah, I didn't even see that.
It's
Yeah,
nestled right into the woods. Go ahead. How many?
2.57 acres.
2.57. It's got a 2-car attached garage. It has a big, I want to say something like a 24 by 40 garage. Am I making up these numbers? You might have them. It's got a second outbuilding type garage.
I like it when you make stuff up.
You can find out the accurate numbers at kellysoldit.com, not from my voice.
Right.
2.5 acres. And then they've got an inlaid brick patio. They have a deck with bench seating that leads to a pool, shed outside for the pool equipment. The driveway is nice and long and has like a turnaround section, covered front porch, and closed back. Like this is like laid out like you want to have a graduation party or a wedding in their backyard.
This one seems like it's more my style, or
it is, yeah.
Nottingham's more your style.
Yeah. Well, I like this Painter Road.
Do you?
Yeah, I was
Oh,
kind of
nice.
impressed by it. Yeah.
Good. So
It's all of the rooms are big. Like you've got room to move around. Even like the living room, it's not one of those tiny, decoration only living rooms. They've got a big living room, a big family room.
nice.
There are 2 master suites in that house, one on the first floor and one on the second floor, both with updated bathrooms. So if you wanted to be first floor and have the kids upstairs, or if you wanted to be upstairs with the kids and have a guest room or an office or something on the first floor, you could do either way.
Parents
Yeah,
moving in
in-laws,
with you.
yep.
Yep.
And then the other great thing about that house is it has a finished basement with what we always have called a den or a rec room that's now called a man cave. And it also has a barn sliding door to a pool table room.
So why do you say it like that, man
Cave. In parentheses, I made air quotes if you
Right.
can't see me on the radio. So, I don't know. That's like the trendy word for houses these days. Every house has got to have a man cave.
Well, everybody needs their own space. Like you and I don't watch the same TV shows.
Yeah, because you're in your man cave.
Because I can't. I can only watch so much drama. Then I start to get depressed, and then I'm like, I need to go watch comedies.
Listen, This Is Us makes me cry.
Oh, my
It is
goodness.
so good.
Why would you want to cry every single week? You're so funny.
So you are a trip. Okay, so we do have some questions from our listeners. Let's go ahead and switch gears and go that direction. If you do want to see either of those houses, Nottingham or Painter Road, find them at kellysoldit.com. Or check us, give us a phone call or a text at 330-717-2689. We've got a couple of questions from listeners. Jim's going to go into some of these until we run out of time.
Could they also check those out on our Facebook page?
Sure. Yes.
What's the Facebook page?
Facebook.com/Kelly Warren Associates, I think.
Kelly Warren and Associates on Facebook. Okay, here's a question. Hello, I heard last week's show good tips about exterior home improvements.
Yay, we have a listener.
Now, there's probably a bunch of people out there thinking we listen all the time, and now,
Oh, we have loyal listeners. I love it.
well, now you're only yay one. We have a whole bunch.
Yay to all of you. Thanks for listening.
We have millions. I picture us speaking to millions
We're
worldwide.
going to have to get a report on how many people are listening.
Do they make those reports? I
Yes,
don't
the
even
radio
know.
station has them.
Cool. So my question is it better for my home's value if I do the landscaping with river rock instead of mulch?
Okay, so last week we were talking about exterior home improvements. So, and this week we're talking about home values. You've merged our 2 segments. Is it better for value if you do river rocks instead of mulch? It does not increase like an appraiser's value, a true value on the house. it doesn't change that. But I would say for long-term use, mulch, the dye runs off of it quick. It looks old quick, and then the mulch kind of wears away and disappears over time. The river rock probably would last you longer. Correct. And anything that you're freshening up or changing would look better for your eyes while you live there, and for a buyer if you're getting ready to put the home on the market. So
me personally, having 2 different homes that we lived in, and one had mulch, and now the new one does have stone. I think I like the stone better. Now it's only been a few months, and what I'm nervous with the stones is I've caught a couple of them on the driveway.
Well, so let me remind you that our very first house had rocks instead of mulch on Bear's Den many moons ago. But they were tiny. They weren't like the big river rock that people use now. They were almost like gravel, and they were in the grass all the time, and you'd hit them with the lawnmower, and then they'd hit the house and chip the siding. You hated it.
I didn't remember that.
Yes. Well, let me remind you.
Okay.
So we'll see after we get into grass cutting season in this new house which one Jim prefers today.
Right.
But I would say from a value and a buyer standpoint, no, it doesn't increase value. But if you were selling and, cosmetically looking, it probably does increase desirability.
Right.
Yes.
Obviously, if you are doing something, do something. Doing nothing is not good. Right. You want to make sure that whatever you decide to do, that you freshen it up and it does look fresh and beautiful and clean. And that's the big thing. So
Certainly.
If you're staying there and you're not selling the property, do the rocks.
There's more questions.
If you're selling the property, then I would say do the mulch and let the next buyer decide if they want rocks or mulch.
Okay.
So, cool. All right. David in Liberty asked, who pays for the required bank inspection?
I actually get this question a lot, and it's kind of one of those misnomers. Is that the answer?
Well, I have a question. By bank inspection.
Well, that's what I was going with. So there is no required bank inspection. There is a required bank appraisal. Correct. And if your buyer is VA or FHA, those get confused a lot because VA, FHA does, the appraisal's purpose is to assign value, period. On VA and FHA, the appraiser has a second job to make sure that the house is safe, sound, and secure, and sometimes people feel that that's an inspection. So who's required to pay for the bank inspection? The answer is there is no bank inspection. There is a bank appraisal. The buyers are required to pay for that. Buyers can ask the seller to pay their closing costs and prepaids, which would include this appraisal. So seller, in turn, long way around the block, could end up paying for it.
Right.
But not required to.
Right. And again, that comes down to negotiations. There's a ton of different things that happen in negotiations on figuring that stuff out. And VA's rules and guidelines are going to be different than everybody else's.
Right.
So there's a lot of different things. And sit down, talk to your realtor. They'll help explain a lot of this stuff to you.
Sounds good.
Cool. All right, you ready for another one?
Mm-hmm.
All right, this one's from Lori in Champion. Has an interesting question. I own a rental property next door to my house. We have a shared driveway. I only want to sell to an owner-occupied, not an investor. Can I legally do that?
Okay. Well, we only have 2 minutes left, so we're going to give you the short answer here, Lori. Legally, well, first, the preface, I'm not an attorney, so you may want to consult an attorney when asking a legal question. But my realtor answer is you can't discriminate that you only want an owner-occupied or an investor. Even though that's not a protected class, you can't discriminate against anybody for any reason. If somebody's making you an offer, you have to consider the offer.
Yeah, as realtors, we don't suggest discriminating against anybody.
Not that this really discriminating either, but your preference here, if somebody makes you an offer, you have to consider the offer.
Correct.
Now, if they don't make you a full price offer, you don't have to take it. So,
well, that's negotiating. So
right.
Correct. So the big thing is if you're selling the property, you want it sold, sell it. I mean, if you got a number that's worth it, then I would say take it.
Okay.
So.
All right. We'll email you a little bit more details on that too. So
yeah, that'll be a good conversation to have with someone face to face.
Certainly. Thanks for listening this morning. We wish you all a happy St. Patrick's Day. If you have any real estate questions, you can send me an email at askkelly@kellysoldit.com. You can check us out online at kellysoldit.com, or you can give us a call or a text at 330-717-2689. Thank you.
If you're thinking about selling your home, call the only agent to trust, Kelly Warren. Kelly guarantees to sell your home or she'll buy it. Call 330-717-2689 or go to kellysoldit.com. Join Kelly for Real Estate Radio every Sunday at 8 on 570 WKBN.